Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on what time you're watching this. This is the Daily Stack Report, bringing you another episode live from my recording studio. Today, silver ended the market. Today's Friday, January 2nd. Silver's futures ended at 72.26, holding really nicely above that $70 mark. Gold ended around 43.41, with palladium sitting at 16.95 and platinum testing 21.61. Hope everyone's having a great year so far. Today's update. Gold is trading in the mid 4300s as 2026 kicks off with a strong momentum after a record year. Safe haven demand, expected rate cuts, and central bank buying are key drivers. Premiums are coming back in physical markets like India and China, indicating real retail activity. Silver has also begun the year higher, supported by strong fundamentals and industrial demand. New export controls from China tightening supply, and analysts warning of elevated volatility add complexity for stackers. So just be ready, guys. We're going to have some volatility. Platinum continues its strong run due to auto policy shifts and broad PGM demand, making it one of the standout metals as we enter 2026. So stay aware. Near-term volatility is high, but the long-term narrative for precious metals remains supported by demand, policy, and macro trends. Okay, guys. So let's take a look at the silver market today. I'm going to show you this chart right here. We're on the 5-minute clock. Last night, whenever we left off, here we go. This was how we entered the night. This is how we entered 2026 right here. Reached a high of 74.21, and then we came back down over here, tested that 71.70, and I really like how much we're holding this $70 line. If we go into our 5-day, again, we've really been holding this $70 line, and today we were tested down again. Now we did hit some speed bumps along this way right here, along that $74 mark, which were the lows right here and right here at the base and end of our head and shoulders pattern right here, which we did fall lower to. And once we hit up here, we tested it twice, once right here, second time here, and then a third time right here before going back down. Now we did end the day on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5-minute candles. So that's 35 minutes right there of straight going up. So we do like that going into next week. The markets are closed for the weekend, guys. So stay buckled in. Markets will open. The pre-market will open Sunday nights at 6 p.m. It's depending on if you're in Central or Eastern time. Now let's go over to gold. So if you watched the video from last night, you'll see where I told you right here we had a gap up as we opened up, which is it's good for the short term, but never for long term, because whatever gaps open up, they always get filled. And so last night, going into this morning, we hit a high of 44.14 in gold. We reached back over. Check this out, guys. We filled that gap right there. So we hit that high of 44. And right here, this is where we hit the other high of 1230 of 44.20. And so we hit double tops right there. Went back down, couldn't hold it, which, I mean, I would rather fill the gap sooner than later. And as you can tell, that's exactly what we did. We filled this gap right here, and we're bouncing off the support line right here. So we came down to 43.26, came back down to 43.21, and again, we ended the day on a couple green candles right here. Not as strong a finish as silver, but still a strong finish as in a whole. So let's go back. Let's look at our 5-day chart here. So guys, we've been finding the support right along this 43.18, 4300 mark. We did dip down to 42.84 once, but we rejected that pretty much instantly right there as we came back up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of these next 12 candles, 11 were green. And you can see these two bars right here. this right here is always going to indicate high buying pressure and that the sellers are losing right here anytime. But on the flip side, if it's on this side, then the sellers are winning. But we did reject that, and we have stayed above that. And so it is nice to find that we are finding that support line right there around 4,300, 4,315 to be a little bit more exact. Looks to be a solid support line. And so if we can keep bouncing off of that, we're going to continue to go up from there. Zoom out to the 1 month. Again, guys, we even look back over here around December 11th, 14th, 15th, 16th. We are bouncing off that right around 4,300. These two guys right here before kind of going up and reaching that peak. And so if we can continue that trend, look at this right here. It kind of looks the same here, here, down, right? And so we got these two right here, again, bouncing off. So if we can continue this trend of bouncing off that 43 and then continuing up, that's going to be a nice slow upward movement. Again, here's another gap up right here. It filled that. Then we had a gap up last night, and then we went ahead and filled that today. So don't get so negative seeing that, oh, it went up, but it went straight back down. Guys, there was just a gap we needed to fill. Let's go over to the platinum markets. Platinum bounced off that 2000 yet again. And as we hold here, let's go into our 5-minute candle on the daily. We did have another gap up, which it does look like we filled that. So that's always nice to see. And it does look like we are finding that support in platinum around 2100. So if we can keep, again, just like everything else, right? This is the top right here, around 2124 on these two candles or on these two time frames. And then today we found above it. So instead of hitting this and going back down, we went above it, and then we tested it about 3 times today. Again, right here, hitting that double bottom before going back up. And hopefully, again, we can kind of stabilize right above that 2100. Zoom back out a little bit. And we'll go to the 5-day chart right here. 1 month. There we go. So 2100 is going to be right about here. This is where 2100 is where we bounced off right here before hitting that high. And then doesn't look like we have much support there. Yeah, it looks like 2100 is going to be the number to look for. If we can stay above that, then it looks like we're going to have a nice little incline. Hopefully we can continue what happened around here. This was all pretty steady right here. So if we can continue this right over here, that's going to be a nice steady incline. Copper, I love to look at my copper. We had a gap up right here, huge gap up, but we already filled that. As you know, whatever gaps are there going to get filled. Let's see, let's look at this 6 month. Woo. So previous high right here was 59.95, and it looks like we're going to be testing that. Looks like pretty soon we're going to go over and test that. We're going to be testing that. So it's going to be interesting to see once we hit that 53.95. Right here we got close, but no cigar. Went back down. And so some news that we got today. Precious metals kicked off a new, here we go. Precious metals kicked off a new year higher, extending momentum from 2025's rally. Gold rose about 1.4% recently, driven by geopolitical tensions, hopes of future Fed rate cuts, and strong central bank demand. We have a bullish sentiment for gold continues from a record-breaking 2025, where gold surged roughly 64% annual gain, its best since 1979. Premiums returning in physical markets. Guys, this is big because that means that in major physical markets like in India and China, dealers have shifted to paying premiums on gold after recent price corrections. That means there's still that physical demand for the metal. What we're seeing a lot right now is in the paper markets, and the paper markets are not the same as the physical markets. Paper markets are driven by institutions, they're driven by retail, they're driven by a lot of speculation. They can raise the rates on initial margin. Right here we have a $35,000 margin that you have to meet. And so in the physical markets, you don't do that, right? If you want gold, you buy gold. You don't have to have a certain amount of margin waiting right there. Um, Analysts do caution on euphoria, though. Some prominent market strategists are warning of euphoria. The idea that gold may be overbought after such dramatic gains. But we're on a bullish long term, but near term positioning may get stretched a little bit. Silver market. Silver continues uptrend off fundamentals. Silver began 2026 higher following strong performance in 2025, where it nearly doubled, supported by industrial demand and its status as a as a critical mineral in the U.S. So having that as a critical mineral is going to be huge going forward. It means that we are in a deficit of it. We need to mine more and we need to find more. But just to get the mines up and going, it's going to take about 5 to 10 years. So it's not something that can happen overnight or within a year. Silver's performance was historically strong, with gains far outpacing most commodities last year. Number two, China's new exports controls hit supply. As of January 1st, yesterday, China implemented new export licensing rules covering roughly 60 to 70% of refined silver exports. This has restricted supply and added structural bullish pressure. Things we need to focus on for the short term: supply discipline, industrial demand, and speculative positioning. Drawdown and risk and market euphoria. Warnings. Analysts from Myray Asset caution that silver may face a higher drawdown risk in 2026 versus gold due to its heightened volatility after massive gains. Silver's fundamentals are strong, but volatility risk is real in the short term. And let's focus over here to platinum. We got platinum experienced one of its strongest rallies in decades, including a 33-month gain in December 2025, the highest since 1986, driven by EU auto policy shifts that increased demand for catalytic metals. Guys, if you don't know, platinum and palladium, but mainly platinum, is one of the biggest minerals inside of your catalytic converters. And so as people want safer vehicles, less smog. All right, they're gonna look more towards platinum for that. Broader PGM strength. Platinum isn't alone. Palladium and other platinum group metals also posted significant annual gains, reflecting broad interest in metals tied to industrial and emissions applications. So, guys, here are a couple things to take away from today's video. Precious metals opened the new year with gains, carrying momentum from a record breaking 2025. Gold is up around 1.4% with safe haven demand and anticipated rate cuts, while silver and platinum posted strong starts. India and China have moved back to paying premiums on gold as prices retreat from record highs, signaling signal, signaling real retail demand. China tightens silver exports. New exports licensing control on silver from January 1st have tightened supply and reaffirmed silver's strategic status in global metal markets. So, guys, with that being said, we'll take one more look over here at the silver as we ended today, the first full trading day of 2026 at 72.26, about $10 off, $10.42 if you want to be exact, off of last year's high, or I mean, I should say a week ago, but last year's high of 82.67, which is absolutely insane to watch. Looks like we're forming this bullish little pendant right here, so it's going to be nice to see. Probably next week, if not the week after. I expect slower trading, things to get calm a little bit before the storm. So let's see where we're at. Around the 13th to 19th of next month or this month. We're gonna end that bullish pennant, and let's check out. Let's refresh that. Where spot price is. Spot right now is around 73.54 for silver, platinum 21.5780, and gold's at 43.43 with 10 cents. So compare that to the futures. The futures market is at 43.41 for gold, and their spot price is 43.43, so about a couple dollars higher. Silver is 73.54, while futures sit around 72.26. So that's going to be a whole dollar higher right there. It's $1.30 higher. So that does signal backwardation within the market. Platinum 21.57, platinum 21.61 in futures. So that's about $14 right there that is sitting higher. So, guys, this is very bullish for the precious metals market. It does signal that there is high retail demand. Also, that these places do think that it's going to go higher. They wouldn't have spot price higher if they didn't. And we still are. If we look at SD Bullion, that's where I purchase all my online. When I do purchase online, this is where I get most of my silver and gold from. Historic silver price action will cause processing and shipping delays. We appreciate your patience. So, guys, there's still a delay on most silver. If we move over here to, let's look at silver, US Silver Eagles, January 9th, January 12th. So, if you want a 2026, you're looking at January 12th earliest ship date and January 9th for a random year. And we're going to look at their rounds. 1 ounce silver bars, 1 ounce silver rounds. The Buffalo is still at January 23rd. The Rifleman still at the 23rd. But for most other ones, you're going to be getting pretty much straight. I did order a couple of these, the Merry Christmas. I thought these were pretty cool. I do like those, although I don't necessarily recommend you getting, custom ones. I do like the ones that are the cheapest because 1 ounce of silver to me is 1 ounce of silver. But I did like that. These are good. If you're gonna pass on the tradition of stacking, it's always nice to have a couple of them like that. It gets people interested in them in the market. But guys, that's all that we have for today. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And if you're just watching, make sure to subscribe to the Daily Stack Report and keep on stacking. Thank you.